the last thing we should do in our HTML. Okay. Okay, we also have something. Okay, let me quickly. We also have text area. Okay, we have text area. We also have text area. Okay. Sorry, so we have these. Okay. Sorry. Let's bring it out from this form. Let's see that side of the form. Okay. So you can see what's happened there. It was showing some gibberish inside here, right? So I had to remove it from the form. That was the issue. That was the problem. You get? Yeah, it was easier for me to find because I have used this before, right? And because I understand the error, okay, that's one thing that will happen when you make mistakes. Those ones are certain. But the difference is how fast you can solve those mistakes, how fast you can solve those problems, right? Or how well you understand um yeah, the elements or the elements, or how well you understand your code. Okay. That will enable you It might not be that fast, but it will enable you debug your code. Debug now, I mean finding where the problem is, finding where the error is, and fixing it to actually make it fast. Okay. So I placed it inside the form tag. That's why it was giving me those errors. So this is our text area. You can see it's bigger than the normal inputs, right? For instance, when you visit some sites, they will show you maybe a form for entering your maybe sending them email, right? So you see your email address, maybe phone number, then you see message. Here I just added a placeholder description. It might be message, so you can type inside it. This allows you to type many things, right? And yes, by default, you can expand it, right? You can expand it. Okay. So that's what you can also resize or okay. Okay. So yeah, that's for text area. Then we also have I said it earlier before. I use input of submit, right? We have you can name it reset. Set. Yeah. So we have this. But it's not doing anything because it doesn't have an action. Okay. Doesn't have an action. So yeah, I think we've touched most of the elements in HTML. Touched most of the elements in HTML. Now, okay, mind you, these columns and rows, this indicates the default size of our text area, right? If you reload now, this is the default size. So when you change this column, if you make it 40, make this one 20, to change the size of the text area, right? You can also change this size in using CSS, right? Using CSS, you can also adjust the size using CSS. So yeah, that's basically about our HTML elements, tags, and attributes in our tags, right? These are some of the elements you can use in creating stuffs now HTML page. Yeah, there are so many of them too, depending on what you want to create. Okay. Okay. Unless you're collecting the form not to process it. Maybe you want to just collect the details of what the person filled in that form. Okay. But if you want to really process that form, to go to a backend file where it's going to be processed, some actions are going to be taken using those data, right? But if it's just something you want to just see or get the details without performing any action on it, and you can leave out the processing file. Okay, I think we are done for today for this particular topic. Okay, for this particular topic. So it's time for questions. So like we always do, raise up your hand. And when you're asked to ask your question, you can then go ahead and ask. Okay, seeing quite a number of you. Okay. Let's start from somewhere. Okay, Chukwudi Jonah, and go ahead. Can you hear me, Jonah? Okay. Jonah, you can unmute now.
Okay. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
So it's about the action on our form. Like
Okay.
the link that you pasted there was I think it's action.php. Yeah. So I don't know, is that the exact link to put it in our backend? I don't know. Or this one is just a demo?
Okay. This is not a actual link.
Okay.
You can see I just use the name action because I see there's action here, attribute, right? So you just a dummy text I just generated, okay?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So it could be any name. It could be any name of your file. Just like we have about.html, you have contact.html. You can name it anything, but the extension, we have a language called PHP, right? Just like we have JavaScript. So if you're creating a JavaScript file, the extension will be .js, right? If you're creating HTML file, the extension should be .html, right? If you're creating a PHP file, the same thing, it should be .php. So that's for the extension, but the name before the dot extension, the name before these dots and the extension is up to you to name, but it's advised for you to name your files, descriptive names, right? Descriptive names. Okay. So Chidubem, you're up next. Chidubem.
So can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Chidubem, are you there?
Okay, good evening, sir. And you scroll down to that select tag part.
So that what? Can you hear me, Chidubem? It seems your network is bad. You can, as well, type in the. You can type in your question in the chat if that will be possible. Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. What did you say? Or what did you ask? Yeah, PSP will confuse you the more, like it will put you into confusion. So we don't need to go there. It's a back end language. It's a language used for back end. Yeah. So Victor, yeah, you're up next. Victor, can you hear us? Okay. Yeah, those you're the host now.
All right, thank you. I mistakenly booted out before. That was awesome.
Okay. Okay.
So Victor, you can speak now.
Good evening, sir. Good evening,
Yeah,
everyone.
good evening.
My question actually is based on that text area, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yes. You said something about the columns and rows, giving it I don't know if it is wheat and bread, I don't know. Like the size of the area. Right?
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
And you explained further that you can actually adjust the size at the bottom right, right?
Yes.
So my question is it now important or necessary to put in those rows and columns, will I use the word attribute or something, like the numbers, since you can actually adjust it from that place where you can drag it further? Or I don't know if you get my question.
Yes, I got your question. Now the thing is this,
Okay.
Professionally, people are not supposed to, or users are not supposed to adjust the text area. Some people will make it not possible for you to adjust the text area. Okay. Now the rows and columns now. The rows and columns. You see, when I typed out this stuff, it was there by default. It was there by default. You can also remove it and do the styling in your CSS to give it the same thing. If you do your styling in your CSS, it will give you the same thing. So these rows and columns now, just like yeah, rows are for vertical okay. So this is how it is now. right? This is the size. So when we increase the row, let's say to 40, you can see the length now, right? You can see the length. So when we resize can make this 10. Can make this 50. So if you're changing the values, you just have to take note of where it's being affected. Where is being affected. See, that's the only way you see how it works real time. Okay. That it works real time. So yeah, in some websites, you cannot resize you cannot actually resize the text area. Okay. Okay, I think use style and size. Sorry. So you can see that thing has gone. It has gone. So you cannot resize it again. Now this is the size to be. So the user cannot alter the size again of the text area. I don't know if I answered your question. Okay, okay. Okay, Victor. Then Chimcheberem, sorry. Chimcheberem, you're next.
Okay, good evening. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
My question is this. For some forms, I used to see on some of the items used to be like a compulsory field that if you don't fill it, you cannot move to the next page. So how is that achieved? Is it like, can we do it to the front end? Is it for back end people?
Okay, you can do it in both sides. Okay, you can do it in both sides. Here in HTML, what you add is this required. Okay, you add this required in the input fields. Mind you, it's not in quotes, right? It's just on its own required. So some people, what they do is add this in the front end, also do it in the back end, right? So it has this strong strong security now, or strict more strict mode, right? So it will also hold you in the front end and also hold you in the back end. So yeah, you can start with it in the front end by adding required in the input fields, right? So you cannot, even in the options, you just add okay, you just in the input field, sorry. So you just add the required. So you cannot submit any form if you have not filled out those ones. Okay, so I hope I answered the question. All right, Godsent, you're up next.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening,
Good
but
evening.
okay, like all your teachings are great. I'm so happy. Most especially this the what do you call it? The form aspect. Wow, like you did extraordinary great. Okay, sir, but like what I was amazed of was like I've never heard of this tag called select. I've never heard of it before. So can you please just expatiate what the thing works? And this for I just want to just get the work of it. Just this for and this select. That's what I want to just understand.
You said the for and what?
Like I want you to elucidate what this for, like what this tag for. This tag in between the label tag and this select. I just want to know their function.
Okay, you mean this now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, it's not a tag, it's an attribute.
Sorry, an attribute, sorry to say, sorry.
Yes.
Okay, so
Okay, it's fine.
Can like expatiate?
Okay, okay.
Thank
All right,
you.
it's fine. Yes, like I explained before, whatever is inside the opening tag of any HTML tag, these are the attributes. It's kind of additional information about the tag, right? So this for now is like, what is this label for, right?
Yes.
It is for this input, right?
Hmm.
It is for this input. So what is the value of this input? Is the password, right? So
Yes,
when
sir.
you type in the exact value here, password, you're like binding this label with this input.
Okay.
You're binding their two together. So in the back end, they are seeing their two as, okay, this label is for this input. This this label is for this input, right? So when you bind them together, because you might have like 100 labels, right? And 100 inputs. So if you don't put the for now, if you don't have a value now, this is an attribute and it has a value. Whatever is after this equal to now, right, is the value of this for attributes, right?
Yes.
Likewise, this type now. So an attribute has a value too, right?
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, so and this select also. Because this is my first time hearing this tag, select. I never heard of it.
Okay. Okay. So the for is where you type in the value of this input. So at the back end, they will know that this label is binding to this input. So
Okay.
the back end also uses it to process your forms, all right?
Okay.
So this select now is when you want to give the user options to select from.
Okay.
That's when you use this select, right?
Yes.
You know, yes, sometimes when you're filling a form, it could be countries, it could be states, it could be local government, right? Some of us who have been filling, maybe who have filled, could be school forms, right? You will see your local government or your choice of the course you want to study. So use this select to outline these options for the user. So whichever option they select will be used to process their form.
Okay.
Does that make sense now?
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay.
Okay, so like I have one last question.
Okay.
Okay, it's kind of funny, but I just want to ask, like, is it must that you must master all HTML code? Like, is it a must before you can advance to JavaScript?
Okay. I keep mentioning it. You don't need to master the whole HTML tags,
Okay.
right? You don't need to master them. It depends on what you want to build. It will determine the tags you'll be using, right? For instance, if you're not building, if your website is not giving the user, maybe you don't want to give them option to select an item, you don't need the select tag. Imagine you're building a blog site, it's just about news, right?
Yes.
About news. You don't really need input tag or maybe the form tag, right? Unless you want them to maybe contact you, reach out to you via email, right? Then you use the form tag. Other than that, you might just use the paragraph tag just to structure the write-ups in the blog, right?
Yes.
So depending on what you're building, that will determine the tags you'll be using to structure. It's just like when you're building a house. If you're not building a story building, you don't really need maybe the staircase, or you don't need to have a decking, right?
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
So
Okay. Wow. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. So please, one last question.
Okay.
So like now, this is fun. Like you are teaching us on how to be good in front end, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So like, is it must? Okay. Like, let's say now I am good at HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
Yeah.
With these three languages, can I be able to create a website perfectly without using any framework like Bootstrap?
Of course.
Okay. Okay, so that means, okay, what you're trying to say is that as a front-end designer or developer, it's not must for you to use any framework. Is what you're saying?
It's not a must.
Okay.
Take for instance now. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
In cars, you have manual and automatic. Not using framework is like when you're driving manual.
Okay.
That doesn't mean you cannot drive, right?
Yes.
In fact, driving manual will enable you understand how the engine works. You know, when the engine changes sound, you know when to change your gears, right? Those things now, you are the one to like observe and fix them, right? But in automatic, you don't need to worry about changing gears. You just put it in drive. It will automatically change gears, right?
Okay.
But when it's not changing gears, even though you're not the one manually changing it, because you know how to drive manual and because you like learned how to drive using a manual car, you understand that, okay, this your car is not entering in gear, right?
Yes.
You'll be able to detect a problem because you have already learned how to drive with a manual. That's how that's the advantage of learning these things before using a framework. I don't know if you understand the point I'm getting.
Yes, sir, I do.
Yes. So, but just like the instance I'm using too, driving manual makes things easy for you, right?
Yes.
So framework makes things easy for you.
Okay.
So
and at times it's more complicated, especially Bootstrap.
Yes.
Hello? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
It will be more complicated if you don't really understand the basics.
Okay, what I mean is that, okay, like take for instance, I just came across something last night when I was checking about Bootstrap framework. Let me say, if you want to create navbar using CSS, there might be like almost 20 to 30 bunch of code. But if we're using Bootstrap, let me say in just like line of code of like 10, you just create a navbar instantly, and you'll be seeing navbar button. So all those short abbreviations, at times it look kind of should I say confusing.
Okay, can I interrupt them, please? Please, we have other questions that are here, and we are lacking to get. It's already 10 o'clock, and we have talked before that it's 2 hours we have each day for this meeting. So if you have a question that is this long, please, during the week, you can meet Mr. Chima, and you can send him a message on Discord. But we are
Okay.
basically asking questions about what we learned here today. I don't know if you
Okay.
understand the context.
Yeah. I
So
do.
we
Okay,
ask
no
them
problem.
other questions. So if you allow you to keep talking and talking and talking, other people will not have questions and will not get to give their own questions. You understand?
Okay, yes. Okay, thank you very much. Thank
Reach
you.
out to Mr. Chima during the week so he can have you sorted out, yeah?
Okay, thank you.
So for the next people, please just make your questions brief. We have been here for over 2 hours already. So we can just do fast and everybody can go home. So Isaiah, I would unmute you now so you can speak.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
All right. My question is based on this div. Now I see you are using, starting from line 70, I think 72 or so. You used div to separate this input and label to the next line. Like since it is an inline this thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so you use div to shift it to the next line. So I want to ask, is this only div you can use to shift an attribute, an inline this thing to the next line? So that is my question. Because I've come across something like this in HTML, but div was not used. This break tag was used instead. So I want to know if it still works like that too. Because if we use div like this too much, so when you are trying to build this in your CSS, you have so many IDs and class to cater for in your div. So I want to ask, can we also use the break tag for the same function?
Okay, thank you. Yes, you can use break tag. You can use break tag. I introduced that break tag in one of our classes, right? In one of our classes, I introduced the break tag. Okay, so you can use the break tag, but now I've explained what this div is for, right?
Yeah.
It is used for grouping your elements, right? Grouping your elements. So professionally, your div should be used, and you give it either a class or an ID. Okay. Because imagine you have break tags too, like you're having break tags all over the place. It will still look untidy. But see how this one is just looking ID, and you group them separately, right? You can just give this an ID or a class pertaining to the contents. Because this is a password now, you might just give it an ID of password or password or something like that. So you can use break tag, but this div is most preferable. So who is next? Okay, Kenechukwu.
I know Adimoye. I've asked him to unmute, but I don't know if he has.
Okay.
Okay, if Adimoye is not ready, let's go with Kenechukwu. Kenechukwu, you can
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Moche.
Yeah, good evening.
Thank you, like, very, very much for your time and this class. Like, I'm really impressed. Like, I learned so much that I didn't know, because I've been I'm not saying all these things like to impress everybody, but I I practice on my own. I learn with YouTube videos and other things. Well, I saw some things here that you talked about, the required and other 4. I've not been seeing it in my own. So but what I want to ask, my question is, on this form you talked about, and then the label, let's assume now I said label, first name, then the inputs, then text. Inside the inputs, you have text, which is maybe your type is your text, then your placeholder, enter first name. But some YouTube videos I watch, I see something like inside the inputs tag, I see name inside. After the text attribute, there I see name, and then placeholder. That's my question. So is it a must that you add that name, or should I just overlook it?
So sorry, come again with the last
Inside
question.
inside the inputs tag, I normally see name inside. Like after
Name?
this type, you now see text. After text, you now see another tag that is name.
Okay, yes, it's part of the attributes.
Okay, so we can add it inside.
Yes, actually, that name should
what's the
be
function? Yes, like that as you are typing now. Yeah. Then that one can be also
the name should be yes.
Yes.
The
So
name now.
It's
what whatever is in the name is what should be in this for.
Okay.
I don't know if you're getting me.
Yes.
Is a way to like, okay, basically is used by the back end developers.
Okay.
I don't know if you're getting me.
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting you.
Like I said now, yes, in this form now, when you submit, we try to get the values, right?
Yes.
The values of whatever the user is inputting. So how do you like get those values and pass it to the back end? Right? So this is how we do it. Then binding it with this label with this. Then this one I told you, yes, you have to input the value here, right? Just like this one. So the same thing with this one. So when when it's being sent to the back end, it will look at for the value of this, which is the name. So the user is supposed to put in the username here, right? So whatever you're putting here will be used in the back. So it's actually part of the input.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's all. And I just want to say thank you very much, and God bless you for this.
Thank you.
I really appreciate the class. Like, I'm enjoying it. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Kenechukwu. So let's go to Jonathan.
Okay.
Okay, good evening, sir. Please, I want to come back. Can you hear me,
good evening.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, sir. All right. My question is, I just have 2 questions. The first one is under select. Under select, so we have option value and all of that. So now in some forms, I usually see maybe they will say, okay, your state. They will now put from Abia to FCT. So that is 36 states. So is it that if you want to create all this thing now, is it that we are going to be creating option value for maybe from Abia to Abuja? So I don't know whether maybe there's a shortcut for that. And also there are some that will say country. You now see all the whole country in one distance. So I don't know. Is it that we are going to create everything one after the other, or maybe there's a shortcut for that? And the second question is, since we are still dealing with HTML, so that's why I just let me ask. There are some these things too that we see, because I think we already talked about anchor tag. So there are some, maybe like home now. If they say, okay, this one is home, maybe just under like all these nav bar, you see home, you see about. So why some of them normally put like all those icons? So I don't know whether you have not really, I think you not talk about that one too. As how to get all those icons and them. Thank you, sir.
With the things I've thought so far, okay, let me go to your last question first. With the things I've thought so far, you can create your navigation bar. Okay, you can create a navigation bar, right? We also, we'll be creating navigation in our practicals. Okay, we're creating navigation bar. Okay, then the options, yes, depending on what you want the user to choose from, right? You can create as many options as you want. Okay, for me, that's the way we do it from HTML, right? From HTML, unless you're now maybe want to call it from maybe from an API. There's another way you can do it, though. Let us put it like that so I don't confuse everybody the more. Okay. There's another way you can do it, but basically this is how you add your options. This is how you add your options. If you have 20 options, 10 options, you add it up here. Okay. Add it up here. So yeah. I don't know if I answered the question. Did I answer your question? You said?
No, I'm asking him to see if he.
Okay, sir. Oh, okay. Yes, you have answered the question. But just that I'm just seeing the stuff that it will be somehow stressful, because maybe if you want to create for like country now. So maybe if you want to create for all the country now, and we have so many countries, we are now creating option for all those things. So that's why I'm just saying whether there's a shortcut for that. So that's why I'm asking the question. It's not that maybe you can't do it, you can do it. So I just.
All right. So I think we'll just go to the next person. I don't know, Isaiah hand is still up, but I asked the question before, so I don't know if it's a mistake. But let's move to Joanne. As this is one that has not asked a question at all. So Joanne can speak.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
So my question is for when it comes to that input tag. So I think a guy asked the same question. What's that guy name again? Kenechukwu or something. He said name, when it comes to that name side, you put username. I also saw somewhere else that where you have anytime you use this label for, that you should also go with input ID. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So where you put ID, so I think wherever you put that for, let me say for instance, now where you have for as username, when you put input and you put ID, you also have to put username. I don't know if that is the correct thing or something, because I'm not seeing it here. Sorry, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there.
I don't know if
Okay.
you're
I understand what you're saying. the reason why I have not really talked about ID and classes, I don't want to confuse us. Okay, we'll do that when we enter CSS. But for the question you asked, okay, I think you guys can research on it. Okay, do more research and find out exactly how to bind label and input for the back end.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. So, yeah.
Thank you, Joanne. I think Kennechukwu's hand is up. So this will be the last question we'll take today. After we take this question, we'll be done.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for this another opportunity that you gave to me. I want to ask, in the password, the input password, how can we like view back our password, like after typing it, to make sure that we are correct? How can you see it to know that, yeah, this thing that I inputted here, this is the correct one, and then hide it back and submit?
You use JavaScript.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, sir. Okay.
Because now you're trying to make it interactive or make it dynamic. Remember we said JavaScript adds interactivity to our HTML, right?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, so with HTML, you just build static pages. Static pages means it's not interactive. So you can do that using JavaScript.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so it means like, so with this now, we have come to the end of our meeting today, our session today. Mr. Moshe, I think there should be an assignment for them, but I will not expect you to do that now. Maybe tomorrow we can discuss about that. Is that fine with you?
Yeah, sure, it's fine.
So thank you everyone that has stayed from the beginning of this meeting to the very end. I'm very, very thankful very, very grateful for you, to all of you. I'm sorry for us starting late, and like we said, there was a little bit of issue with network over here, so that was just why. So thank you and keep up the good work. So an assignment will be coming in maybe between tomorrow or Monday, and you know our normal deadline and everything we get. So our next section will be on Friday next week. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you there again. Thank you very much for attending class today. Take care. God bless you. Go to church tomorrow. All right, now, bye.